One big racial question that's up right now is whether or not we will have reparations for slavery. You've heard this for the first time in a major presidential race. A huge number of the candidates are saying they support reparations for slavery. And even Joe Biden has supported a commission to talk about whether or not we should have reparations. So Don Lemon, will go half of Tweedledee Tweedledum on CNN. Don Lemon brings up this question of reparations. And Columbia professor John McWhorter, who is a liberal, but he's a little more reasonable as far as liberals go, he goes on the show and he says, Don, whether or not you want reparations or not, we've already had them.
I'm a little wary of the idea that we should think of that as a microcosm for what should happen for Black America, not because I'm against reparations, but because reparations for Black America already happened starting in the late 60s. Affirmative action was reparations. People didn't use that word, but that's precisely what it was. The Community Reinvestment Act of 1977 that forced banks to invest in inner cities. Nobody makes a movie about that, but that was reparations. If affirmative action didn't help to turn Black America upside down, then why do we fight red tooth, claw, and nail whenever anybody threatens it? It created a huge Black middle class, and it created Black success of all kinds that wouldn't have happened without it. I think affirmative action was a great thing, but I do think that it was a reparation.
I love this argument. I love the angle he's taking here, because he's saying, look, some kind of reparation is perhaps justified. And this was the opinion of basically everybody after the Civil War, right? They said 40 acres and a mule. That was going to be the promise, because you can't just say to a huge number of people, okay, you've got your freedom now, but you don't have any property and you don't really have many political rights, and you've got people who are really opposed to you having political rights, and okay, so it'll work out fine, right? No, it probably won't. Now, should we have reparations hundreds of years later? I think that argument's a little weaker. But to me, the cleverer argument is we've already had them. Of course we have. If affirmative action, if the racially focused welfare programs of the last 60 years in this country are not a reparation, then what the hell are they? What's the point of them? If they're not a reparation, get rid of them. If we're gonna do something else now, then we absolutely need to scrap all of those programs. If it's not a reparation, why do Black students get preferential treatment when they apply to college? Why are white students and Asian students put at a disadvantage? They have to score higher on the SAT, they have to get better grades, they have to do better than the Black students to get into the same colleges. That's a reparation. Well, okay, if it's a reparation, then we've already got it. But what this shows you, and this I think is the brilliance of McWhorter's argument here, he hasn't even come to this conclusion explicitly, but I think it's implied. One of the arguments against reparations is, what do you think is going to happen? We're going to, okay, $10 billion. There you go. That's the reparations. We're good now. It's all good. No more racial grievance. Of course not. It's never going to end. There's no end point to that. And the proof of this is we've already tried it and there was no end point to it. Hey there, before you go, make sure you ring that bell, you subscribe, you like, you get the notifications. You can head on over to Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, all those places. Subscribe to the audio podcast. We really appreciate it. You can leave a 5-star review. And what? This thing? This is my upcoming book, Speechless, Controlling Words, Controlling Minds, which is available now for pre-order. It's dropping on June 22nd. You can get a signed first edition copy at Premier Collectibles. This one, I'm glad I have the physical copy so I can prove to you. This one, unlike my first book, has actual words in it. Go check it out. See you next time.